Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. You are listening to our English Learning Podcast, and I am your host, Emma. We are coming to you live today from our beautiful, sun-drenched studio right here in the heart of Manhattan, New York City. I'm looking out the window right now at the skyline, and let me tell you, the energy out there is incredible.
And I'm Liam. It is truly a pleasure to be back in the studio with you, Emma. And of course, a big hello to all of our wonderful listeners tuning in from every corner of the globe. Whether you're listening to us while commuting on a busy train, enjoying a quiet coffee at home, or taking a break from your English studies, we are so happy to have you with us today.
You know, Liam, as I was walking through Times Square this morning, I realized something. New York is the capital of more. We want more success, bigger goals, and faster results. It can feel like a constant race that never ends. And I think many of our listeners feel that same pressure, the feeling that they aren't doing enough, learning enough, or being enough.
You hit the nail on the head, Emma. That constant hustle can be exhausting. That is exactly why we created this podcast. Our mission is to help you improve your English fluency, but also to help you find a better way to live. When you listen to these conversations, you aren't just practicing your listening skills. You are soaking up positive mindsets and strategies to help you grow as a person.
Exactly. It's about building your confidence in English while building a life you actually enjoy. And today we have the perfect topic for anyone who feels a bit drained by the modern world. We are diving into a beautiful Swedish concept called Lagom.
Lagom. It's a simple word, but it holds a powerful secret. It's about the art of just enough. Not too little, not too much. If you've ever felt like you're struggling to find a balance between your work, your life, and your language goals, this episode is a gift for you.
I'm so excited to explore this with you, Liam. I think we all need a little more Lagom in our lives. So, listeners, take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's start this journey together toward a more balanced, peaceful version of you. So, Liam, let's get right into it. We are sitting here in Manhattan, the city that literally invented the word busy. Everywhere I look, there's a billboard telling me I need a bigger car, a faster phone, or a better job. To be honest, the idea of just enough it feels almost impossible here. How do we even start?
That is a great point, Emma. Actually, it's the most common reaction I hear. People think lagom is about being lazy or having no ambition, but, well, it's actually the opposite. In Sweden, lagom is about sustainability. Think of a cup of water. If you underfill it, you stay thirsty. If you overfill it, you make a mess. Lagom is that perfect line where the cup is full but not spilling.
I like that image. But in our culture, we are taught that if the cup isn't spilling over, we aren't trying hard enough. We want extra large everything. How does a person move away from that more is better mindset?
Well, actually, it starts with a very simple question. Before you buy something or before you say yes to another project at work, ask yourself, does this add value or does it just add stress? To be honest, most of the things we chase in this city only add stress. Lagom is about finding the sweet spot where you have enough to be comfortable but not so much that you are overwhelmed.
Let's talk about work. I have friends in finance and law who work 80 hours a week. They drink 5 coffees every day just to stay awake. They think this is the only way to be successful. Is there a lagom way to have a career in New York?
Actually, there is, and it might surprise you. Research shows that after about 50 hours of work a week, our productivity drops significantly. You start making mistakes, you get grumpy. To be honest, those extra 30 hours are often wasted.
So, staying late at the office doesn't actually mean you're a better worker.
Not at all. In fact, in a Lagom mindset, staying late is often seen as a sign that you aren't managing your time well during the day. In many Nordic offices, they have a very strict 5 p.m. rule. Everyone leaves. Why? because they know that a rested worker is a creative worker.
I wish my boss knew that. But, well, for our listeners who are studying English, some of them feel guilty if they don't study for hours every single night.
Exactly. And that is the overfill mistake. If you try to study for 3 hours after a long day at work, your brain will shut down. Actually, it's much better to study for 20 minutes with high focus. That is Lagom. It's small, it's manageable, and you can do it every day without feeling drained.
Let's move from the office to the shopping mall. I went to a big store last weekend and everything was buy two, get three free. I felt like I was winning, but now I have all these things in my apartment that I don't even use.
We've all been there, Emma. That is the quantity trap. We think we're saving money, but we're actually spending our space and our peace of mind. Lagom in consumption is about function over fashion.
So instead of 5 cheap sweaters that lose their shape after one wash, I should buy one really good wool sweater.
Precisely. To be honest, a high-quality item that lasts for years is much more lagom than a mountain of cheap things. It's also better for the planet. In the US, we have this throwaway culture. Lagom asks us to respect the resources it took to make that item.
I've noticed this with food too. New York portions are famous for being huge. I often feel like I have to finish the whole plate even if I'm already full.
Well, that's another great area to practice Lagom. Actually, there's a famous saying, eat until you are 80% full. When you stop there, you feel energized. If you eat until you are 100% full, you feel tired and heavy. To be honest, most of us have forgotten what satisfied feels like because we're always looking for stuffed.
I want to ask about social life. New York is a very loud city. When I go to a dinner party, I feel like I have to be the most energetic person in the room. I talk a lot, I laugh a lot, and then I go home and I feel completely exhausted.
That is what we call social burnout. And to be honest, it happens because we think we have to perform. In the Lagom philosophy, silence is actually respected. You don't have to fill every second with noise.
Silence. That sounds like it might be a bit awkward for a dinner party in Manhattan.
Well, actually, it's only awkward if you're uncomfortable with yourself. Lagom in conversation means listening as much as you speak. It means being present without being too much. Have you ever noticed that the person who speaks the least is often the one people listen to the most?
You're right. They seem more grounded, more balanced.
Exactly. When you find your lagom socially, you stop trying to impress people. You just show up as yourself. That is enough. And when you leave the party, you don't feel drained. You feel nourished because the connection was real, not a performance.
This all sounds so peaceful, Liam, but I have to ask, does lagom mean we stop growing? If I say I have enough, does that mean I stop trying to improve my English or stop trying to get a promotion?
That is a very insightful question, Emma. To be honest, the answer is no. Lagom is not about stopping, it's about the pace of the journey. If you run a marathon at full sprint, you'll collapse at mile 2. If you find your lagom pace, you can run all 26 miles.
So it's about growing in a way that doesn't break you.
Exactly. It's about sustainable growth. For our English learners, don't try to learn the whole dictionary in a month. That's not lagom. Learn a few phrases, use them in your life, enjoy the feeling of progress, and then move forward.
Enjoy the feeling of progress. I love that. Sometimes we're so focused on the finish line that we forget to enjoy the walk.
Well, actually, the walk is the life. The finish line is just a moment. If you can find the lagom in your daily habits, you'll find that you are much happier, much more productive, and much more fluent in the long run.
I'm feeling more balanced already just talking about this. I think I'm going to go home and try to find the sweet spot in my own evening routine. No more 3 hours scrolling on my phone.
That is a perfect place to start, Emma. To be honest, your sleep will thank you for it.
That was such an eye-opening conversation, Liam. I feel like I have a completely new perspective on my life here in the city. But now I want to make sure our listeners can take some of these powerful English words and use them in their own conversations.
That is a fantastic idea, Emma. Learning a language is very much like Lagom. It's not about how many words you know, but how well you can use the ones you have. We have selected 5 golden words from our talk. Let's break them down.
Let's start with the big one, hustle. I hear this everywhere in New York. I'm hustling. He's got a great hustle. What does it really mean in a daily context?
Well, actually, hustle has 2 sides. As a verb, it means to move quickly or work very hard and aggressively. In the US, we often use it to describe someone who is very ambitious. But to be honest, it often implies a lack of balance. If you are always hustling, you are never resting.
So, if I say I have a side hustle, it means I have a second job or a small business I'm working on after my main job, right?
Exactly. It's a very popular term in American English right now. But remember, lagom is the opposite of the hustle at all costs mentality. You can hustle to reach a goal, but you shouldn't hustle for your entire life.
I love this next one, sweet spot. It sounds so positive.
It is. A sweet spot is an idiom that refers to the optimum point or combination of factors. Originally, it comes from sports, like the exact part of a baseball bat that hits the ball the furthest with the least effort.
So, in life, finding the sweet spot is finding that perfect balance.
Precisely. For example, if you are exercising, running too little is useless, but running too much causes injury. The sweet spot is that middle ground where you get fit and feel great. Actually, you can use it for anything. I found the sweet spot for my morning routine, 15 minutes of yoga and 10 minutes of reading.
Next is sustainability. We usually hear this when people talk about solar power or recycling, but you used it for our energy.
Well, actually, that is a very important point for our B1 learners. Sustainability means the ability to be maintained at a certain level. If you do something that you can keep doing forever without breaking, it is sustainable.
So, if I study English for 8 hours in one day, that is not sustainable because I will hate English by the next morning.
Exactly. To be honest, most people fail at their goals because they choose an unsustainable pace. For a sentence example, to achieve fluency, you need a sustainable study plan, not a 1-week marathon.
This word sounds a bit negative. Mediocrity. You said lagom isn't about mediocrity. Can you explain that?
This is a sophisticated word. Mediocrity is the state of being just okay or average when you could be better. People often confuse enough with average.
So, if I do a lazy job at work, that is mediocrity. But if I do a great job and then stop to go home at 5 p.m., that is lagom.
You hit the nail on the head. Mediocrity is about a lack of quality. Lagom is about a high quality of work but a balanced quantity of time. You should never aim for mediocrity in your English speaking. You should aim for clarity and balance.
And finally, a word I feel very often, drained.
We use drained to describe being completely empty of energy. Think of a bathtub when you pull the plug, all the water disappears down the drain. To be honest, it's a much stronger word than tired.
Yes, if I say I'm tired, I might just need a nap. But if I say I'm drained, it means I have absolutely nothing left to give.
Exactly. We often use it after social events or very long work days. After that 3-hour presentation in English, I felt completely drained. It's a very common and natural way for Americans to describe exhaustion.
Hustle, sweet spot, sustainability, mediocrity, and drained. These are such useful tools for our listeners. I hope they try to use at least one of these words today.
Well, to be honest, even just noticing these words in movies or books is a great start. That is the lagom way to learn.
step by step.
As we sit here in this studio, surrounded by the bright lights and the constant noise of New York City, I want to leave you with one final thought on Lagom. You see, Lagom is not a strict set of rules that you must follow perfectly. It is a question, a very simple yet powerful question that you should ask yourself every single day. Is this enough?
Is this enough? That sounds so simple, Liam, but I think it's actually quite brave to ask that in a world that always wants more.
Exactly, Emma. To be honest, we're trained to look at what we don't have. We look at the person with the bigger house, the faster car, or the perfect English accent. But Lagom invites us to look at what we do have. It is the art of finding contentment. When you stop reaching for the extreme, you suddenly realize that you already have everything you need to be happy. You stop racing against everyone else and you start walking at your own pace. And trust me, that is where the most beautiful parts of life are found.
I love that. To summarize for our friends listening at home, Lagom isn't about being lazy, it's about choosing quality over quantity. It's about knowing when to stop so that you actually have the energy to enjoy what you have built. In our busy lives, especially for those of you learning English while working or taking care of your families, please remember, you don't have to be perfect today. Doing a little bit with a balanced heart is more than enough.
Well said, Emma. Progress is a journey, not a race. If you learn just one new word today and you use it with a smile, that is a Lagom victory.
Before we go, we want to hear from you. Manhattan is a big place, but the world is even bigger. Wherever you are right now, tell us, what is one area of your life where you want to apply Lagom? Is it in your work, your morning routine, or maybe in how you study English? Please share your stories with us. We read every single comment, and your experiences inspire us more than you know.
It has been an honor to share this space with you today. Thank you for listening. Remember, be kind to yourself, keep practicing, and always look for your own sweet spot.
Thank you, Liam, and thank you to all our listeners. Take care, stay balanced, and we will see you in the next episode.